Thanks for coming, Ryan.
Thank you guys for having us. Oh, right here. Thank you for having us.
So, you've earned a doctorate in architecture, but eventually chose to walk away from that path to start Rise Poke Shack. Can you take us into your mindset during that time? What were you thinking and feeling as you prepared to make that leap?
Well, first, to clarify that I never had a doctorate. It was the environmental 4-year degree. But I was in the doctorate program, and at that time I had my daughter. I was a young father. I was working, and the decision to go to the 4-year was dependent on finances and things like that, just real life situations. But the pivot.
Yeah.
The pivot was, I've always wanted to do food. Even when going to school, I was going to college right here. So I'll be looking down, and I remember I saw like a little blue food truck. You guys probably see that thing? I was telling all my classmates I want to do something like that. So it's always been in me. I've been doing food as a waiter for 20 years. But I mean, eventually the pandemic just screwed everybody in the head. Everybody had to get creative. And it was something like it was an easy choice for me. I'm just gonna do something like that I want to do.
And how did your friends and families react when you told them that plan?
I lived my life always just making my own decisions. Mm-hmm. So my wife was very supportive, even though we had mortgage. I have 2 kids. At that time too, I was offered, it was a big sum of money. And my business partner, I was doing business with in construction, and we were gonna take over a firm. And I heard what the salary was, and I think we're splitting about $500,000. It's been a long time business, and it was 30 years plus, and he had contracts all over the state. So I was almost guaranteed that, because those were contracts that are rolling. Yeah. For me to pass that up, and my wife was okay with it, and we're starting a food truck, and I was barely making $100. That was mostly kudos to my wife, because I don't know why she would support me doing this.
And that takes a lot of bravery. Like, what gave you that courage to be like, I'm gonna ditch this offer and go and do something like this? That's my passion.
It was for happiness. Yeah. It sounds weird and just like fruity and stuff, but I was going home stressed out every day, and something was missing. And doing something that you really want to do, it's really important. You want to go home every single day, even if you're making good sums of money. I mean, it's a balance, right? So you have to be thinking about all these things, but it was happiness, It was, yeah.
100%. And behind Rise Poke Shack, so it's located in North Shore. It's a Oahu gem, redefining poke with creative made-to-order dishes. What inspired the menu and overall brand image of your Poke Shack?
Okay, so the menu, where should I start with this? Okay, so I guess not to get into like the real start of it, but we had some rough beginnings. We had to end up tearing down our menu and stuff, but the menu that I have now, I pretty much did it in one night. Just one night. I built the shack in about a week and a half, but it was just because of grit, because I needed to get it done. I need money. I had to support my family, but the menu was just because of know-how. Going to college and stuff, you kind of figure out things. I could see ingredients in my head, kind of like how I saw materials. I seen spacing. Like the menu was created out of that. And then eventually, when I started doing the flavors that we were known for, that was all out of passion. I did things because I wanted to do it, like the Lao-Style, and those are like flavors that a lot of people were telling me that's not going to work.
But you believed in them, and you're like, this is gonna.
It was just I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
It was nothing else, because we're making very little bit of money anyways. It wasn't about that. I never saw a vision deeper than that. I was living the best years of my life. We're super slow, and I'll be sitting outside underneath the plumeria tree, and there was no business coming in, but I was living very happy.
And
the money wasn't good, but yeah. I mean, it was. I don't think it's something that you guys want to hear. You guys are interested in entrepreneurial stuff, but that's really important, though.
I mean, yeah, that's like your first setup. And then from there, those first customers, like, how did things grow from there? How did you start bringing in the masses almost?
The customers are important. So when I was being a waiter, you could see customers, they really want to talk to you, and I'm really personal. But then when I started seeing the owner talk to the customers, all the customers always want to talk to the owner. So I could never ever have that kind of same connection. Mm-hmm. As soon as I started my own Poke Shack, it never had a big name or nothing, but people just want to talk to you as the owner. So there's something that's kind of embedded in all of us. We just want to talk to the guy at the top. But once I started doing that, each customer you can build a relationship a little bit more better. As a waiter, you're just a guy working.
It's like one and done.
Yeah, I'll request for you, but like, you see those memes on Instagram, and now I know the owner, It's kind of like that. It's unfair, but it was like that. I got to see it firsthand, but it worked. Each customer, you end up talking to them, and it's really important, I think, in Hawaii. I heard something from a customer, and he said the power of coconut wireless or something like that. Coconut, yeah. But anyways, that just means word of mouth, right?
Yeah.
So 3 months into it, word of mouth, like I think we're doing close to, I would say $1,500 in sales. And then just through word of mouth, It just blows up as long as you're really, really good with the customers.
So your first focus was totally on word of mouth customers, getting them to talk about it.
My first focus was just being happy. Like I was really happy, like to serve. You have to understand, like when you're doing architecture and construction, like I was doing, the turnaround rate to see a happy client was could be like a year. But this one, I serve a poke bowl, and instantly you see a happy customer.
Yeah.
It was a different way of living, and then, yeah.
That's amazing. Let's talk about that first day at Rise Poke Shack. Where were you? What did the setup look like? Like, how was it? How did you feel that morning?
The first day? Oh, well, the first day we had our friends and family. I bring my parents everywhere nowadays. My family always comes with me. So it's just all friends and family.
Wow.
And then nobody else, though.
Okay, what about, and then the second day, when you like opened this up, like how was that?
I think the first month, so we opened up our shop next to my sister and brother-in-law. So they were already pretty well known, but it wasn't, so they always have business coming in. Our area wasn't really busy as it is now, but I would always just see customers go to them. There'd be no customers to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in my head, I'm trying to think, how am I going to get customers? The whole time you're just thinking that,
So you were obviously happy doing this, like you had that self-fulfilled like happiness.
Oh yeah.
And then but then you were looking for the customer. So was it like, I know you started out doing word of mouth. How did you like go from there? What was like your next step almost to like drawing in more?
Well, first, there's two ways to think of like that situation, which I got to talk to. I talk to a lot of business owners now, and I see two different ways of thinking that. If you're sitting in a stall, because I do service, and you're seeing another stall make all this business, some guys would be like, almost jealous, But then another guy would be thinking, how am I going to do it? And you take off what's working, what's not working. You're just kind of build. You're trying to not look at yourself. You're trying to you just want to take what's working. How can I do this? So it's a big mindset thing, but that's the first thing.
Got it. Nice. And then was there a moment where you realized like this is working, like this is starting to bring in like money and cash flow? What was that moment for you? Like how long into it did you start getting like that feeling of wow?
Probably the first year.
First year.
And then
okay.
and each year it's just been growing because we only can the hard part of our business is it's really unscalable. Only way I can scale it is if I hire employees and stuff. So we only make as much money as we can dish out the poke. But my wife has gotten really fast. So I think we're at 1,000 to 1,500 our first year. Every day we're working, but we can go up to 4,000 to 7,000 probably within like 3 hours.
Wow.
So, but we only work probably 5 days a week or 4 days a week. And the rest is this family time nowadays.
That's really nice. Wow.
Yeah.
And then how did the Netflix Street Food USA feature come about? What was it like to see your story on that platform?
So when I'm talking about, well, how did that come?
Yeah.
Well, I guess that links really well with what I was telling you guys about, like just every customer is kind of important. You guys are going to do whatever business you guys are in, but you never know what the client is or who they are. So everybody was very important to me, and that's just how we all should be, right? So one of the customers that I was serving was like some kind of celebrity chef, or she cooks for celebrities, and then I never knew that, but eventually I found out that she told Netflix, and Netflix hired a crew in Hawaii, a foodie crew, and I was on their list. So I treated everybody with respect, and they said, you should try this guy out. And Netflix got a hold just because of word of mouth. So
wow.
all the things, it's a lot of his word of mouth, and just I only had probably 5 customers each time, but each customer you're really good to ends up, if you make an impact, they end up telling another person.
Yeah.
Telling another person, spreads like wildfire.
And how was that experience being on the show? Like, what was that like?
Well, the experience is great. I'm always one for opportunity, especially if it's Netflix, right?
Yeah.
But I only had 3 minutes of B-roll, And just to see the impact of 3 minutes of B-roll on something, an international platform, what it can do for your business is big. But more so, that never aired until our second year.
Okay.
So our first year just started banging out because of word of mouth. And then I started figuring out social media, which we can get into. That's another beast of its own.
Yeah.
Because a lot of business owners are like, yeah, social media. But how do you work it? You know, a lot of guys don't know how to work it. It's just a great idea, but you got to really get in there.
No, yeah, I'd actually really love to talk about, like, as a local business owner, and especially coming off of just like word of mouth, like that was your main form of getting the word out about your place. How did you come around to that? I always like talk to small businesses and they're always like saying like, I don't know just where to start with that.
Yeah, I was talking to two businesses, and the first business, I'm not going to name the business, but her experience is she did shave ice, and she probably was doing about $60,000 in sales every month in Kauai. And when I talked to her, when she came down here, she was dead slow. Like, she's probably going to go bankrupt real soon. She moved down here. It's terrible for her. But I was telling her, what are you trying? You know, you got to be able to pivot, which is very important, just pivoting, pivot left and right when things aren't working. But I told her about social media, and she just told me something I really don't believe in, and especially in business, is she said, I don't know if I can change. But pivoting is all about change. You just find comfort in uncomfortable situations, and you're just gonna find ways to learn it.
Yeah.
So I said, you're just like, I don't know. But she's a really nice lady. She has a great product. So in return, I end up helping her.
Yeah.
But in a way, when you help them, that's another thing too. I really believe in helping each other because it comes back to you guys. It does. Yeah.
And so like, what were those first, like, how did you even start with like getting your stuff on social media and getting traction? Like,
we keep up. So some of our stuff we keep up. Like when I first started, I never knew what I was doing. So I took pictures of our cucumbers and tomatoes, like a picture, and I never knew what I was doing. You know, I thought that's what people just want to see. But the more you figure it out, like there's like the algorithm and stuff, which I still don't fully understand to this day. But you can see like stats, right?
Yeah.
And things like that. But you just want views. You just want to get in front of people's faces.
Yeah.
So whatever it works to get there. And it depends on your business image too, you know?
Yeah.
My business image is family oriented, you know, happy family. And some of my other friends that do poke, they're pretty more flamboyant, and they'll put more raunchy kind of things on their stuff. I can't do that, but you gotta be you gotta respect what you're about, but you want views.
Yeah.
Because you see a lot of guys on social media, they'll do anything for views, right? But at what point, what's the threshold, you know? So. Yeah.
And you mentioned helping other local businesses. How's that been? Have you had a lot of people come to you and ask how you got so successful, or how's that been with helping other small businesses?
Like, how do I start to doing that?
Has there been a lot of people?
Oh yeah. It's almost to the point where I tell the businesses when I'm going to do collabs with them that they have to kind of call me because I don't have a set schedule anymore. And you just gotta call me. My call list is just mile long. So just call me. If I don't pick, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Because I'm probably working. So that's why I'm talking about scaling. It's really hard for me to scale. I'm owner operator, but we're also working on other things which we can get later on.
Yeah.
But I am scaling. It's just our initial shop right now is all my time. It's just it's really hard.
And what's some of your best advice for like someone starting a local business like that?
Someone starting a service business?
Yeah.
Like every customer is really important, you know, really, really important. And like you have to establish that connection. If you're doing service, like what I was doing, it applies different to like, I guess, whatever business you're doing. I guess in a way it doesn't. Every customer should be important. Like when I was doing construction, you know, but yeah, every customer is very important. You don't know who they are. They'll give you like the best opportunity of your life, or they can just tear you down. You never know. So treat them real good.
Yeah. And your first year brought in over $500,000, which is incredible. Yeah. But with growth comes pressure. And what's been the hardest part about managing this success?
I'm more lenient on myself now. And I'm fortunate because like when I was telling you guys, like it was a finance thing. You know, once business starts doing good, then I can alleviate more time for myself. But my wife would always tell me that I had a problem with not knowing when to put the brakes on. So within the last couple of years, I tell myself, no, I don't really have a problem with that anymore. I allow myself time to like just relax and not think about anything. I put my phone away. Once I come home, I don't do anything. So I say I don't have a lot of time, but that time allocated just for myself, that's like, that is something that's like time for me now. But I feel like I had to get to that point.
Did you feel the negative effects like before when you weren't doing that, giving yourself that time?
That's also another thing. I don't think I was ever concentrated on negative stuff. Like when I was seeing other business going out or problems that happen, like as a business owner, you don't concentrate on the negative stuff. You're like, how am I going to fix it? I have a shack, so you can see like it's not like a brick and mortar. Things are going to go wrong in the shack. Plumbing goes off, electrical goes off, leaks. I don't have time to be thinking about negative stuff. If customers are there, I'm like, how am I going to fix this? Serve the customer, prep fish. It's like, if you're concentrated on that, you're already screwed to begin. Like,
yeah. And what are your future goals for Rise Poke Shop? What are you looking forward to?
So we're currently working on a shop in California. I have another shop I'm planning in Kapahulu. It's just really tough because I'm the owner operator in this current location. But like when I was telling you guys about to recycle and just that the whole thing, everybody's important. We get courted all the time they want to use our name in California or wherever in the world. But we have a guy that has good experience in it, and we're hopefully going to open up. I'm getting close to signing lease right now.
Wow.
But they could be an opportunity for you guys if you just establish a good connection. It's all about networking nowadays.
Yeah. And where in California?
We're looking at Arcadia right now.
Okay, cool.
But Santa Monica and stuff was like what I don't really know LA that much, you know?
Okay.
But that was like what I envisioned, but you just got to kind of learn from what he's saying.
Yeah.
And I was he owns like 7 restaurants on that side. It's close to like Pasadena and stuff.
Okay.
So you got to be nice to your business partner too.
I'm from LA. I could definitely see you in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
That would be perfect.
But then the rent, I don't see the rent.
Yeah, the rent would
and
be
then,
a little
you know,
crazy.
you just got to sell more volume. But
Yeah.
like, I'm like, man, like, I don't want him to overwork himself,
Yeah.
you know, just to make up the rent, you know? So you got to think about the other people too.
But definitely down those beaches, like they don't have any poke down there.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. But like your business owner, your business partner, what does he want? You know, you have to think about, because if he's not happy, like it's not going to be good once you guys start already.
And how'd you meet your business partner?
So my wife, she worked with him for 4 years in Waikiki in the hotel. And he saw our business just kind of like going everywhere online. And then he came down because with the intent of seeing our business. And once he saw it, and then he saw kind of like just how banged up we were, meaning how busy we were, he said it was a good time to court us. So then he came out and he said, hi, my name is Wes. And he's like, I've got something to offer you.
Okay.
And then we had dinner that night and everything. Yeah.
Perfect. Wow, that's so cool. And then some advice for students. What would you tell students who feel like they've already messed up their future because of their grades?
Well, don't continue doing that. But like in a way, it's like we joke around like, did I even need to go to college? You know, because I'm playing around with fish right now.
Yeah.
But everything's relative, right? So even whatever you're learning right now, if you can apply it to the next thing you're doing, like that's really what matters, you know? Because I don't know if my GPA really mattered. It was more for like myself that I can do it, you know? Because it never really mattered in whatever I was doing. They just hired me. What can you do? I showed them. They don't even think they looked at my GPA or grades. You know, that was just for myself. They looked at my portfolio, what I'm capable of doing.
And what's something you used to believe about success that you've completely changed your mind about?
Oh, well, I'm gonna reiterate the happiness thing.
Yeah.
You know, but I just have to say that again. Like you really want to do what you want to do. I kind of experienced all ends of it, and I don't have any regrets of not taking any. A lot of people relate success to money, you know, but I've experienced all parts of it, and I just want to do what I want to do.
Yeah. And you still, like, happiness is like the driving force that keeps you motivated.
If it was money, then I'll be working 7 days a week. We're making great sales right now, you know, but because of that, it's like balance. I don't have any employees, and I'm okay with that. People tell me to hire employees all the time. I'm like, I don't want that's not really happy always having employees.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then, but scaling up, do you think eventually?
Scaling, that's why my business partner could take care of that. I told him, you know, that's all you. But he has 7 restaurants, and he's a very happy, like that's what he can do. He can be very happy managing stuff. But I was never, I don't know, having employees was always tough for me. So it's just me and my wife.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Which is already hard to begin with. I'm very, very fortunate. Me and my wife have a really good work-life kind of relationship.
Nice. And finally, what's one piece of advice you hope every UH student remembers after hearing your story?
I guess you just want to do what you guys want to do. You know, like you got to find something you want to do. Like, well, especially for you guys, it's entrepreneuring kind of thing. You know, like a great idea and stuff. You know, but is this what you want to do? You know, and if you're gonna do what you're gonna want to do, and you have a lot of passion in it, I really believe that's what's gonna make it. You know, whether you're successful or not. You know.
And it's tough. Like a lot of people have trouble like finding what they're passionate about. Obviously, like you went to architecture, and then this was eventually passion. How did what's some advice like even finding that passion?
My passion wasn't fish. You know, people ask like why fish and stuff. It's like my passion was really just making sure I have a roof over my family's head. I mean, I'm born and raised in Hawaii. It's tough. I never thought I would ever buy a house. You know, we're working our third now, just from a small shack. It was never ever about that, you know. It was like I just wanted to have a house over our family's head. That was my passion.
What's some like advice if like someone's like, I don't know what my passion is, and like it's like tough to like kind of like scale out like that and like be like, you know, like happiness is something that I should just be driving for, that I should be passionate about. But if you're looking for like something that you want to drive for yourself for, like what's some advice on like finding that like driving force?
It's gonna come. Yeah. I'm still looking for it too. But I mean, I know that's what's driving me. It's just always my family. So, but eventually, what your passion is just gonna come, and nothing is certain, right? What we have right now in my shack, I tell my wife all the time, it can be taken away. You know, we almost got booted out many times and stuff. So whatever you have now, whatever passion you have right now, that's gonna change too. We're all changing, right?
Yeah. And then what made you come up, just a little bit on your flavors and your menu a little bit more, like, could you like talk us through like your thought process with some of the like the most famous ones?
Well, so I just want to do it. Yeah. So my wife is Lao, and when I first met her, I had Lao food. I'm not sure if you guys had Laotian food, but when I tried it, I was like, man, this should be all over the world, you know. But it's not. It's Thai food is a little bit more popular, streamlined. So when I did poke, my first special was Lao Poke. I wrote it on a piece of cardboard, and it was just because I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Because I enjoy eating it.
Yeah.
So let's see if anybody else does. And you know, we never have much people, but I was just happy serving it. But each customer that tried it, you guys got to imagine like how word of mouth spreads. And mind you, we're all the way in North Shore, or the population is like 2,000 in Kahuku. It's not like in town. But to see firsthand like how just word travels.
Oh yeah.
I just imagine if I was in town,
it would have been like,
you know, it would be different. I mean, there's poke shops everywhere, right? So for people to drive out there, maybe because they want to try a Lao-Style Poke, I mean, something happens there. Yeah. Where people from Thailand now, Bangkok and Laos, all around the world, they come just for that dish.
Yeah.
But there's other things, like that's why we kept on reinventing different things, you know?
And do you like change the menu often, like for like what you feel like might be suiting the customer or what you're hearing from customers?
The regular menu stays. It's more like collaborations and things like that, or if I want to put my friend back on there. And so if I have the time to nowadays to prep up everything.
What are some of those collaborations?
I'm doing one with my friend Brad. He owns Uncle Holik's Pupus. And I have like a umade style spiced poke using his tegu sauce.
Wow.
But I like to use different kinds of flavors and kind of reinvent them using local inspiration, things like ume and stuff. But I'm also looking at how the dish looks and if it's like properly, like, you know, like, I guess you kind of I credit that composition kind of like taste to architecture, because I can see how composition looks, colors work and stuff, right? But the flavors also have to be nice and things.
Yeah. That's really cool. And how is it like, I just don't know anything about this, like the fishing industry, like getting the fish, was that like tough to?
I never knew anything about fish.
Yeah.
That's why I said like it wasn't my passion. My passion was just, I was trying to find something, like I knew I wanted to do food though.
Yeah. Because
that's serving something was something like I could work in a blue food truck. But I could have done churros or anything, you know. But that's something like when I was talking about business pivoting, you know, you guys are gonna learn something and you're gonna get into it. I never like just, I don't know anything about fish. I was like, no, I knew a lot about fish the next day. I was just reading, I would be talking to fishermen.
Wow.
Yeah, go down to the auction. I never knew. They were like looking at me like, get off my property. Yeah, they told me that, they're like, who are you? You don't have a name. I'm like, no, I want to make an account. They're like, no, you can't be here. I'm like, no, I want to be here.
And they eventually started.
No, yeah, I wasn't gonna waste any more time. But the point is, I was going out of my way to do these things, you know, and I'll find another way. If they weren't gonna allow me to do it, I'll find another way. So I established other connections with distributors, and stuff. And fish prices are high, so how do you? Because initially nobody wanted to drive fish to us. You know, we're not buying enough fish, and stuff. So a lot of guys cut deals around us. They'll make us drive all the way into town.
Wow.
And but nowadays it sucks because now our business is doing good. Now they're all they want your business back, but that's why everybody's important. You got to make sure everybody's treats you really well. Because I don't know if I ever want to go establish another relationship with these guys that wouldn't take me when I was on the down. You know, but when I was down, there's other businesses that helped me. So nowadays I'm still doing business with them, even if their fish prices are high. I just,
And those
that's
like,
more important,
Yeah, and those people that like did you wrong, you're still like, nah.
Oh, we're friends. Like it's not like so it's funny because I don't have to mention names, but I actually know the family. I went to school with them, but it's like they weren't there. We're still friends, and I don't need to bring up the past for them and stuff. But like that's just business, right?
Yeah.
That's just what they have to do.
Yeah.
But
And starting during COVID, like how is that? I feel like that would like 10x your problems. How did you navigate that? Like getting started, just like it seems like it would take a lot more to get started in that environment.
Oh, so COVID was that was tough because I was in construction, and then I was in me and my business partner. We already had like a business that was already going down because we're losing our contracts. So losing a business, we were already thinking other ways. You know, am I gonna save this business or am I gonna jump out? So that's when we got offered another business offer where we're gonna take over a big company, which is he's very fortunate, and I pulled out instead. So it was really easy. It was something like, okay, this is my moment. That was my trigger point. And my business partner's, he's doing extremely well. He sold $8 million his first year. And in construction terms, that's just a lot of money for his business, but it was real easy for him because that's his passion. My passion was like, I'm just not happy coming home. I'm like, I was just stressed out every day.
And was it harder to like, you know, get to those fish auctions and stuff during COVID? Like, did that restrict a lot of your initial momentum?
No. Initial momentum was just no business.
Gotta make money.
But like it's weird. Like it never bothered me as much, you know, because I'm still getting over like I'm leaving one career, and this is the reason why I'm in this new career. I'm like, I don't have to dress up in an aloha shirt anymore. You know, I'm in my flip flops and one t-shirt and stuff, you know. And then that was kind of like that mattered to me more. You know? And then eventually I'm like, man, I need more business. So like there's like a lot of feelings going through me.
That's impressive though. A lot of people like have a lot of anxiety when it comes to those decisions and moments. And
I think if all the way to now,
yeah,
I would have changed my perspective. If we never had business all the way to now, then for sure, like I wouldn't be telling you guys this, y'all. But bro, I need business, right?
Yeah.
But throughout my experience and stuff, now I'm at this point where I can tell you that, yeah.
100%, yeah. And looking back to your high school days, what? I don't know if this is a personal question, but
no,
like,
it's not. I guarantee it's not.
Why do you think like you didn't get as good of a GPA in high school? Was it just you were interested in other things, or that just wasn't something that was your top priority?
Just a knucklehead. You know? Just a knucklehead, and I never wanted to go to school and stuff. And I think that's kind of what like it is like how I am now. Mm-hmm. Like it's hard for me to work for somebody. Yeah. You know. So maybe it was like that when I was in school too. But when I was in college, I excelled. Yeah. You know, so I don't know what happens, but
was it like you made that mental adjustment, or was it just kind of like?
Well, I got my daughter when I was young, so I was like, I have to find a career path. Mm-hmm. I'm a typical Asian family in Hawaii, so they're like, you got to go to school. I had no other way to make money. Yeah. Go to school, get one degree, go to work 30 years of your life. Damn. But then when I was in architecture, working for a firm, I went into office one day and I was like, bro, is this gonna be the rest of my life? And it's the office, the firm was just quiet. Everybody's down there.
Damn.
And I was just like thinking like, bro, is this how I'm gonna be like 30 years from now? I was walking to the same office because the guys were there for a long time.
Yeah.
And then just like, that just is kind of like a disease in your head. It just festers. Once you have that, it's never gonna go. And that's when I started doing other stuff. Like, I told them I want to learn the construction part because I like designing, but I want to do construction. But if you have a boss, they're gonna say, no, you don't need it. You just do this.
Yeah.
So I ended up just doing my own stuff on outside of work. I started YouTubing and learning how to renovate. And then I ended up renovating people's homes. That was another business segment I just did on my own.
Yeah.
And then my business partner I was telling you about, he saw me doing all these things. And you're crazy, you know? And then he's ended up hiring me because of architecture. It's like things build up if you just keep on wanting to progress.
Yeah.
And I just quit I think I had like 5 jobs in 5 years. Each year I just quitting jobs.
Wow. Do you think like there's an age that's like too early to like say, oh, I'm gonna start my own business and do my own?
No.
You think it's like I can?
I'm working with a 17-year-old right now. Yeah, he's I don't know if you guys heard of him. His name is Cohen, but he's like a Keiki Rise leader. He's been on PBS and stuff. But I was really inspired by him. You know, he made like a business and he's gonna have a brick and mortar at 17 years old.
Wow.
And I sell his products and stuff, but it's
Do you have any advice for like getting over those anxieties of like kind of like pushing more of your effort and willpower to like this sort of thing, getting away from school? Like for me at least, like I have anxiety of like, oh, should I put my willpower into this project I'm working on or like school, you know? It's like,
yeah, you can't just, I understand it. Because I was the same way. I was like a student and I'm like, I see the blue food truck down there. I'm like, how do I get there? There was actually 1 year I took off because I was like, I'm gonna go start a restaurant. So I took off 1 year in architecture and I want to pursue making a crab boil restaurant. When crab boil first got big, my friend, I don't know if you guys know Kicking Cajun, you know that restaurant? My friend, they started that restaurant in the small little, by the Samsung Plaza thing, they had a small little thing. And I was like, man, if I hop on the train now, you see how popular it is, it's gonna be like, I'm gonna be loaded, you know? But then when you start going through the experience, it's like, oh man, the realtor was telling me that, oh, you don't have enough money in backing and stuff. So you just learn all these things and there was no anxiety there, you know, but I'm thinking like, I need to finish up school. I got my, like, there's a lot of things that are going through my head. So it's normal for you guys to feel that. Yeah. But if you don't do anything, then you're just gonna be stuck in that position. Yeah,
analysis paralysis.
Yeah, so you're gonna stay there feeling anxiety or you're gonna be over there going through the experience and anxiety at the same time. I mean, it's,
And how did that like 1 year off experience like change your view on when you were?
For that time, I was like, man, I'm never doing this again. I'm just gonna go back to school.
Wow, really?
Yeah. And then, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like everybody changes, right? I'm not gonna be the same way I am next year. Yeah. You know, and nowadays in business, I tell my wife like every day for our business, every day is really different. Like we have so much people that come in. Really? If it doesn't fluctuate as much when you have 5 customers, you know. But when you have like hundreds and hundreds of customers every single day, from 5 to that, it's like your day can go all kinds of ways. But it's always good. It's really interesting.
And do you love that? Like that almost
chaos? Yeah. That the chaos of it all. And then I still get anxiety sometimes, you know, depending what I'm trying to do. Yeah. But it's normal.
How is it like managing and leading that sort of like chaotic environment? Like
I go into it not knowing what I'm really gonna do. Like I just know I gotta prep stuff, but it's just so much things. You just know that you're gonna go home happy. So you just think about that and just like, and you'll figure it out the whole time.
100%. Okay, we're gonna open it up to the audience for some questions. So if you have one, just raise your hand, I'll bring the mic to you.
Hi, thank you so much for speaking. I was just wondering, since you mentioned that you're planning to scale up and expand in Cali, I was curious if you have any worries of like maintaining the same quality that you have here in Oahu, or like how do you navigate it? And
for sure, that's the first thing every business owner would think of, and that's what everybody would tell me. All my peers would tell me. So that's always going to be there. Once you start scaling, that's almost a given. There's no assurance. Even my business partner told me that. So just him telling me that, but he said he's going to do his best, you know, and you just kind of got to. For me, I don't really have much business experience in expanding. It's my first time doing it. But like we were just talking about, it's like, am I just gonna sit here or I'm gonna go try something new. I'm okay if I fail on that thing. I'm just gonna build off of that thing. So we can't just dwell on that. But yeah, that whole thing, there's no guarantee. We can just try our best though. But if we try our best and it goes downhill, then I'm just gonna rebuild. I'm not gonna just sit still. I'm gonna shut that thing down and I'm gonna try something else, you know? So.
Any other questions?
Going from your PhD, spending years in contracting and all that, and then jumping to starting up a poke shack on the North Shore, where did you get that startup funding from, and where did you get that reassurance from as well?
That's a really good question. And I'm actually really proud to say I only spent $8,000. However, when I was telling you guys that I didn't want to go through the whole, like how the business thing started, going to business partnerships with your best friends wasn't good. So I'll just go through it real quick. I went to a business partnership with my best friend, and I ended up building the whole thing with my money. And I had no money because the pandemic laid off my wife for 2 years. So we had literally like $9,000 to $10,000 in my bank. I said, I'm gonna fund it, you're gonna pay me back and stuff. But that business partnership ended up faltering. I ended up selling my share to him. And then we wrote things down on paper back then as a contract. We never had a lawyer. We never had money. Lawyers are expensive, guys, yeah? So I did that, and the whole idea was I'm supposed to get my money back. Once he saw, like, I do all these things, and once you have like sour tastes of each other, I'm not gonna say he was wrong or I was wrong. He ended up selling me the thing for $20,000. So don't do any of that, but of getting into a business partner. Like, I don't know, some of it works. I usually hear bad stories though, you know? But if you can do it on your own, don't worry about the money, you know? Because you can do a lot of things, you know? $8,000, I built one whole shack that's bringing in choke money now, you know? It's like, yeah, but it was know-how too. Like I was YouTubing and stuff. I was YouTubing how to build, and I kind of knew architecture and stuff, but architecture only taught me how to draw and stuff, you know? So a lot of it was just grit, you know, you just gotta, like, how am I gonna do this thing? And I just did them, you know? Yeah. I mean, that thing is still standing, so it's pretty good still, you know? But yeah.
So you said your business partner today, right?
Which one?
The one you met and he gave you an offer.
So that one, the offer came from, there was an older gentleman that was in his later years, and he was already at a good point in his life. He's good friends with my business partner. He offered us to take over his company.
Oh,
Yeah.
How much restaurants did the other guy own?
Oh, this restaurant, my California business partner.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so he has a lot of grit too. You gotta find business partner with a lot of grit. Okay, so his background, he worked with my wife for 4 years. He ended up leaving the island. She said a lot of good things about this guy. All he does is think about work and how to better his life, you know. He rides his bicycle to work. He doesn't worry about his car. That kind of guy, that's the kind of guys I like, you know. So he ended up making his own sushi thing in LA. That failed, okay. I don't ever dwell on the failures, you know. What did he do after? So he went to go approach another guy that owns a lobster roll company. The guy had like 2 or 3 restaurants. He built 5 or 4 more within a matter of a couple of years. I was like, bro, this guy's got some hustle in him. He came and he flew all the way down and drove all the way an hour out to just have a conversation with me. That shows something. So I'm not sure if I answered your question.
Or what's his name? If you don't mind.
Oh yeah, his West Kai. I don't know. I go ask him if I could do that. But yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. He's a really nice guy, but I mean, with business partners, even then, I learned I'm not gonna write anything on photo paper anymore. So I have a lawyer and stuff that I've already gone to court cases already. Just gotta imagine, like one small food truck, I got into court cases already, you know?
What are those court cases?
Well, it's like some guys were using our name and stuff, but like to some people, it couldn't be important to them. Like other people would be like, yeah, just let it go, you know?
Yeah.
But like I saw like a future in this thing. like, I think our name gonna get big. That was the first year.
Mm-hmm.
And then next thing you know, our name just got bigger and bigger. But even then, it was a good investment because if they had our name and have tons of travelers, like tons, if they're coming and their location is closer, eventually then, you know?
Yeah.
But even though that their shop was open, we're still doing okay. But it was more for my vision. I just saw me opening up more Rise Poke Shacks and stuff.
Yeah.
They had a very similar name, and we had a dispute on the phone. We couldn't solve it without lawyer stuff. But I never really talked to them. I only talked to their son.
Okay.
Anyways, I told him, like, we got to take this to court if we don't want to do this. So I had to go hire a lawyer, and then that's how I found out lawyers are freaking expensive, bro. Yeah. But then we did that way, and they never even showed up to court. So some people can be ruthless, bro, because I paid for them to use my lawyer so they can write up a contract.
And they didn't
even show up. They said, we're not going to do the contract. I spent over $10,000.
Oh my God.
People can be brutal, bro. So you can choose, like, and that's just like, you're going to treat everybody with the utmost respect, but they can make you or break you, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, but like a year later, he called me back. He said he's sorry and stuff, but I don't know, man. Sorry, not going to help me with $10,000. So.
Yeah.
Hello, I would like to ask two questions. So what is your biggest motivation to go into the food industry? And the second question is like, the food industry usually is very competitive.
Yeah.
And the profit margin is very low. Right? So how can you overcome that?
Oh yeah, it's terrible, especially with fish. I think right now we're at like a 30% food cost. At some point, I kind of neglected to even look at that once our business started doing good. You can kind of see numbers in your head nowadays when you do business long time, because I got to buy fish every day. So I kind of just see it internally now. But we're at about a 30% cost. There's a lot of poke places. So, I mean, how are you going to separate yourself from the pack? You know, those things, which I think we already touched on. Like I dabbled in a lot of stuff, social media, new kind of flavors. We are one of I'll say we pioneered making the poke on the spot out of a food truck. So that already had just as a customer, I'm looking at like a little poke shack. You know, there's a lot of things that I was thinking that could work, you know? And then to see the first month, it doesn't really work. That's another thing, you know, like you're saying, like how can I overcome these things? You can do all the right things, but if nobody knows your product, like you can have like the best thing in the world, but I think the main thing is like pivoting in marketing. You got to market, you got to show people who you are. You can have a terrible product and just be in front of people's faces. I think you'd be okay. Eventually some people are going to be buying your stuff, but it's even better if you got a good product that you really believe in. Yeah.
And your motivation?
Oh, my motivation is always the same. Just like, I just want to be happy. Like to live in Hawaii, like I tell myself every day, like how grateful I am just to be in a position, just to know that this thing could get taken away. Like all these things, just to know how fragile things are. I find comfort in that too. Like honestly, yeah.
I know you touched upon like when you first started and stuff, but I would like to hear like if you were to do this again, maybe it wasn't poke or anything else. What would be like things you would keep in mind or remember to do, or what would you do different this time?
Well, the first one would be like I just want to get a business partner in the beginning with how it started and stuff, you know, because I could have done it on my own, you know, but maybe to touch up on what you said, like the anxiety, it felt more comfortable after to be like, hey, you want to go into this together? The anxiety is kind of off, you know, but to answer your question, it's just to go full force into something. And you're gonna learn regardless, you know, if you're really into this whole thing, you're gonna learn if you're going full force into it, you know? So I'll just I wouldn't have the fear thing to be making me make moves I'm gonna regret. I don't have it nowadays, you know, and everything's still goes wrong, but you learn to fix it, you know? So I just wouldn't make big mistakes with fear.
I see. I mean, like having that fear, I feel like if you really like something, you should just really commit to it.
Right.
But I feel like, is there like a certain point that you feel like committing too much to it would probably just be a bad thing, or?
That's like knowledge though. Like I was like, how much am I gonna give? You know, so that's something you have to already know too. Like I was like, I can shell $8,000, you know, and stuff like that. And I was confident. I told my wife, I said, you don't ever have to worry. And she knows this. I said, you don't ever have to worry. We could, if I was ever jobless and we're dead broke, I was confident in myself where we're still gonna be okay. I'm gonna find something to do. I was picking up trash off the street, selling it on Facebook Marketplace. So the fear is there, but you just have to know, is it the right time for you? I don't know. I feel bad just saying that because you never know when the right time is. But you know, it's like when the right time was for me was, I guess, was built up emotions from the pandemic, I guess, and failing career, and maybe I just wanted to change your life. So, I mean, I don't know if I'm really answering your question. It was built on a lot of emotions for me. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not sure where to put that.
Would you recommend studying architecture? And then is there any part of you that wish you did business instead?
I told my daughter, I was like, you know, you'll be super great to help out the family business if you're in business finance and you learn business law and stuff. But I mean, I don't regret anything because it got me here, you know. Who's to say if I went there, then I'll be at the same position. Maybe I'll be even better, I don't know. But I took whatever I learned from there and I applied it. So whatever anybody's learning, you can apply. I mean, you probably hear that all the time. You can apply anything to your whatever business you guys are gonna do. It's true, you know. But a lot of people, I don't know if they do that, you know. I think the thing I took from college was knowing that I can do this. Like I can, whatever I was doing, I'm like to study through midterm with no sleep and stuff to get the degree. That was what really mattered. Like I can do a lot of stuff now, bro. If I could do this thing, and even to this day, I like kind of wear that. You know, like I can do it. Yeah. But yeah, I would probably go into, I don't know. Now that I've gone to the court battles and stuff of business law and stuff, you know, yeah. Oh, finance. I don't know what I'm doing with finance. You know, I got my CPA, but like, if you know how to handle money, bro, you're pretty powerful. You know, I learned a little bit about it, but.
Sorry, so where you are today, right? Like, you mentioned that you probably work with a lot of financial professionals. Like, you say like your attorney, CPA, I don't know if you have a bookkeeper, but are you the one coordinating all of the advisors together?
I only got a CPA. He's my bookkeeper and everything. You know, he does all my monthly taxes and stuff like that. What I could work on is I honestly could work on like learning how to shell my money better. That's why what I was saying, like I think business finance and learning like how to be better at finances, that could help me. But I'm pretty old school, so I just invest my money. Once I had the money, that's when I started buying like property and stuff, you know. I don't do stocks and stuff. I don't understand like creating shell companies and holding. My friends, they're big business guys. They're like, oh, you need a holding company and stuff. My brain doesn't like. I'm like, I don't even know what that is, you know. So the most I've done was I changed my LLC to one corporation. I don't even know really what that did. My CPA just said it's gonna work out better for you. So I was like, shoot, yeah.
Might as well.
Yeah, it's gonna be better for me. And I was like, okay, yeah. But I wish I could learn all that stuff, bro. Yeah.
So who helps you make all of like the important financial decisions?
My wife probably. But we do everything compromise, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but like financial decision, like are we making money or like spending money, like
So like say like
buying a house kind of stuff, or
yeah, like smart financial decisions, like are we ready to buy a house? Are we ready
Oh,
to
yeah.
expand?
So for the homes or properties, it was always my idea. You know, where I saw like the interest rate, and I saw like a climb in the housing prices, like starting to go high. So when I bought my first house, we bought it in Eva Beach. It was probably like 2017. I bought the house for $595,000. Okay, we wouldn't find a house like that anymore, single family. Okay, but I saw like if I don't buy it now, I don't know if I'm ever gonna be able to buy it. So I went to tell my dad this. My dad was like, everything's relative. When I was growing up, it'll be like the same. I'm like, no, Dad, this is not relative. Like the house is you wouldn't be able to afford this with your government job. You know, he doesn't understand old school. Yeah, and it's about 900 now. Went up 50%. So it's like, but it was because I saw like one trend and thing. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna do this, and then my wife always wanted a house. We all want one house in Hawaii, especially Hawaii. Like I never thought I thought I was gonna rent until I'm 70. You know, going to old folks home. Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah, it's big accomplishment, bro. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I got my house.
I think that's all we have time for, unfortunately. But thank you again for taking the time to speak with us. And let's give Ryan a round of applause.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.